Welcome back as Marty gets everything up and loaded over on his side of the screen. I don't know. Why are you bigger than everybody? And it's not on the screen.
I am Muscle Man.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Should be.
It's still not on the screen. Anywho, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Under Review Podcast, episode 51 that should have took place last week, but technical difficulties, about 4 total hours in 2 weeks for this shindig.
It makes you feel better. We're still having technical difficulties.
They don't have to know that. But anywho, as always, I'm your host, Todd. Alongside me is my co-host, Marty. And today we are going to run through Transfer Portal episode series, whatever we want to call it, series part 2 with the next 4 alphabetical teams. Yeah, whatever it is.
Right. Todd, before we jump into that, that was disgusting.
It happens.
It happens. But no, we had a really big milestone for one of our guys that's a good friend of the show. About this guy, I didn't know a lot of his backstory till it started coming out. And I've worked with the guy for 2 years. And it was really inspiring to, after read it, know that he overcome all that. But I believe last week or so, our buddy at HCS Media, Hayden Coker, graduated college at JSU. Wow, what a perseverance from this kid. I mean, just a joy to be around. And there's one thing about him, that this kid loves sports. He's going to have something to do with sports. And if you need somebody to talk to, that's who I always go to at work and chat with him. But super proud of you, little buddy. Hope to see great things coming for you.
All right, very proud of him. Just doing everything that, being on ESPN Plus, covering softball. Did the ASUN softball tournament, I want to say, this past weekend in Chakalaka. Very proud of him for everything that he's doing and will do. But like I said, told him, I always remember the time that you was on the Under Review Podcast, and don't forget it.
Right. And I think he was doing some Alabama High School Athletic Association stuff with the tournament starting soon, or they had regionals. I think he was doing play-by-play or commentary at some of the games in JSU, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but, best of luck to you, Hayden. I always got you back here at Under Review Podcast.
Well, as we get that into, like I said, it's the Transfer Portal Show, Part 2. Today we're going to cover Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, and Mississippi State, I think.
That's correct. That's correct.
Very 4 teams that really changed their perspective inside this transfer portal. Granted, some people lost a lot, some people lost a little, some people gained a lot, some people gained a little, but in reality, these 4 teams made the best moves, I feel like, better than last week, I want to say.
Yeah, most definitely. In this class here, if you don't already know, there's one of the number 1 teams in the transfer portal in this group, and then one in the top 5, and then one pretty close to the bottom, and then there's a mid-packer right here. That's going to be really exciting to talk about. What?
Mid-packer.
Mid-packer. I knew that would be your chuckle word.
It's funny.
All right, let's jump into it.
All right, we got Georgia coming in. 18 out, 10 coming in, but they had a few key losses. And let's get to a few. The big one being at the quarterback with Carson Beck, and then Damon Williams II, and then Julian Humphreys at the D-back position. Carson Beck this year, 3,485 yards, 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Looked a little sketchy there near the end. Probably some injuries, which there was, which opened the door for Gunnar Stockton. And I guess he saw what Gunnar had to do, has left in the tank for Georgia, and gave it to him and said, I'm out and I'm going to Miami.
Yeah, well, I think he got blindsided once he got to Miami between his Lamborghini getting stolen, his girlfriend he hoeing to other places. He's kind of kind of really, they always say, yeah, the grass ain't always greener, Mr. Beck. So I guess here's your bed. Now it's time to lay in it at Miami.
I'm not seeing anything on this Damon Wilson kid, but I do know that Julian Humphreys was a defensive back, great defensive back at that. Didn't had a little less playing time this year. There he is. 11 total tackles, 9 solos, 2 assists, 1 pass deflection for Julian Humphreys. That's about it. Kid's good. He's only a sophomore coming out of Texas, but still hurt him with the depth in there. Again, there's this kid. Damon Wilson the second.
Rusher.
Yeah,
Edge rusher. Okay.
22 tackles, 13 solos, 9 assists, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. So a key piece that they're losing here. I don't really know where he went, but he's a junior, going to be a junior this upcoming year, coming out of Florida. So really interested to see where those 2 guys land. Like I said, I haven't really kept up with it, but
yeah, they two big losses for their defense. I think they have a lot coming in offensively wise. That some of the guys that we're going to look at. I figure out which button I'm clicking. As far wise as the safety there, Adrian Maddox.
Yep.
Boy,
I want to say
I'm doing super good at spelling. Out of 6 names, I done spelled 2 of them wrong.
So the A and the S on the keyboard are very close together. So
yeah, so that's what we'll blame it on this week.
Yeah. He came from UAB. I want to say he's a wide receiver.
No? I think so, yes. No, that's either Zakai Branch or Noah Thomas. I know there is a UAB guy.
Oh, yeah. I got him right here. Safety. 30 solo tackles, 14 assists, 44 total tackles, 7 pass deflections, 1 interception, which was a touchdown, and 2 forced fumbles from the kid from UAB, Adrian Maddox. Zachariah Branch also came in with his brother.
Did they come in from Arkansas?
No. Came in from USC.
Okay. Well, that's another set of brothers that moved around this season.
Yeah. Zachariah Branch this year was 47 catches, 503 yards, 1 touchdown. But big play ability from this kid. And then the Texas A&M wide receiver as well.
Noah Thomas.
Yeah, I really didn't have any. Everything is just thrown together at this point. We've had so many just absolute disasters. 39 catches, 574 yards, 8 touchdowns on that Aggies offense. So I think all 3 guys right here are a very good pickup for a Georgia team that lost a lot.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, this Georgia team is the mid-pack and pretty closer to the end because they ranked 12th in the SEC as far as transfer portal goes. So I guess we can see how that plays out. I mean, I think they lost a little more on offense, but coming in, these guys can help out, especially the 2 wide receivers. But the biggest question is, I think, it's going to be the quarterback. You just said his name,
Gunnar Stockton.
Look, and me and not Hayden, Cody, we talked about this. How he come in and play good in them last 2 playoff games, but what's his toll going to be through a week in, week out schedule through the SEC to see kind of what he's made of, and if he's the real deal that's replacing this pretty good quarterback in Carson Beck.
That's with a lot of guys coming inside the SEC this year with a lot of new quarterbacks. So I think we have next. What do you give them on a grade?
I don't remember what it was. Oh, grade. I don't know. I think I'm going to look at about a C- here because I think lost so much as going out. It was 18-10, but they lost some high-quality players to bring in some decent players, but not enough to match up what they left out.
I'm going to give them a B+. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it is Georgia. It is Kirby Smart and this team. They're going to turn these kids that didn't have a good year in Zachariah Branch and Noah Thomas and the other Branch kid. I don't know his brother's name. And then Adrian Maddox, who played good ball in American Conference. they're going to turn this team around and help them. But it all lies in the hands, like we'll see most of this episode, in the hands of the quarterback, Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this may be another topic for another time. So, do you start to see the crown kind of come off the Georgia head now with this transfer portal moving along as being up there with the Sabans and the dynasty teams that they've had in the past?
Like I said, this team has the chance to do what they want to do and have a very good team as that. But it's how is it going to rely on Gunnar Stockton, and how are these key pieces that are coming in going to affect this Georgia team in the long run duration of an SEC conference?
Right, and just who's to say, if I not to put a jinx on anybody, but knock on wood, they go out first play from scrimmage and, he tore something, breaks something or something. So hopefully Kirby's got another rabbit in his hat to pull if this Gunnar Stockton experiment don't work out in UGA.
All right, now we got Kentucky. Big Blue Wildcats. They get 31 going out, but 23 coming in, ranks 5th in the SEC out of 16 teams. Kentucky, what are you losing there, bud?
What we're losing in Kentucky is, clicking the right buttons again, is Kendrick Gilbert, Brazion. Is that how you say
Supposed to be Barry Brown.
Again,
Barry.
being these close, and Darian Henry Young were two really big linemen here for the Wildcats. Took their ball and went somewhere else to play.
Were those offensive linemen?
I believe, yes, they both were. I can't jump up and down and say 100%.
Well, the big thing with Barry Brown, who probably, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about him again later today, 29 catches, 361 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and also a good punt and kickoff return man. Very electric.
Mm-hmm. Is he the one that had that kickoff return against Florida?
Yeah.
That only brought. I thought that was him because I remember talking about him last year.
Like I said, I'm not seeing these other guys, so really guessing they are offensive linemen. But another key piece that they're losing is their number one target last year in the wide receiver position, called Dane Key, 47 catches, 715 yards with 2 touchdowns, who also entered the transfer portal.
They did lose a lot, but I'm kind of shocked at as what they got coming in really is going to be the best part of this. What, given the number 5 spot here on our list, or on the SEC. Come on, why won't you click? You want to run them down?
Yeah, we got Kendrick Law, who we talked about 2 weeks ago, from Alabama. Excellent wide receiver, didn't have a lot of playing time. Well, had a lot of playing time, just didn't get a lot thrown to him down in Alabama.
Overshadowed.
Right. The Alexander Washinger, good luck with that one. Yes, offensive lineman from Cody picked him, didn't he?
He did.
Okay. Yeah. And then the big guy right here in the middle of your screen, if you're looking at it, is Zach Calzada, who pitcher is from Auburn, but never played a snap at down at Auburn. Thank you, Potato Head. Then went on to Incarcet Wood and had an outstanding 2 years there.
Yeah, I like this. We talked about Kendrick real quick. I mean, I think he definitely overshadowed at Alabama. I think he's going to be a star for this Kentucky wide receiver crew and their offense, and hopefully they can get their head wrapped around a decent quarterback for this young kid, because their quarterback play was so up and down last year. It was really Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
That quarterback play was so bad last year. Brock Vandegrift retired from football. That's how bad it was. And I was not even trying to be funny, but that's how bad it was. And then Gavin Winston enters the transfer portal, goes over to Jacksonville State, so he's going to be playing close to home this year. But this kid, Zach Calzada, like I said, I love this kid. The kid's from Buford, Georgia. He's a redshirt senior last year. He did 35 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, 3,744 yards, and then his year before that, 2023, 2,598 yards, 19 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. So he's averaging about 9 interceptions.
Better than old Peyton Thorne. Probably not.
No.
I mean, even with Zach coming in, and if he's the starter, I haven't looked at their depth chart to see, because I know the SEC is starting to come out and name some of their starting quarterbacks this week, and I think some last week. So hopefully, if this can be a bright spot to star Zach and Kendrick right here for what could be the best part of this Kentucky offense.
I agree, and that's why I give them a solid grade of a B. And they're being the 15th ranked team in the SEC last year. A B coming in at a transfer portal could turn a lot of heads. I'm not saying be a high and mighty inside the SEC, but look for Kentucky next year to prove a point and not finish where they finished, pretty much.
Yeah, to just be a better contender, and I think so too. I like to be the B minus here area. Like I said, did lose a ton of folks as far as, 31 people. That's a lot for anybody's roster, but they did turn it around and bring in a couple really good guys who can, I think, get Kentucky out of the bottom of the barrel here in the SEC this year.
All right. So I said B. What'd you say?
B minus.
No. All right. Now we move over to LSU, who has the top ranked portal inside the SEC with 18 leaving but 23 coming in. So let's talk real quick about who's leaving from the Tigers. You got C.J. Daniels, who's a wide receiver who had 42 catches, 480 yards, no touchdowns, averaged 11.4 receiving yards. Deshaun Womack, that's an offensive lineman, no defensive lineman.
Deshaun, I got it wrote down somewhere.
Defensive end, 4 solo tackles, 4 assists, 1 sack, 4 pass deflections as a defensive end. Okay, pretty good. And then Suggs kid, 10 total tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 pass deflections. So really missing 2 key interior guys right here from this LSU Tigers offense. But the best part about them is they're returning their starting quarterback, and to me, is the best quarterback inside the SEC this year. I said to me, it's my opinion.
All right, Cody, my opinion. I told him that they was talking about that at work, and he said, I'm going to get a shirt with that.
Sure.
Right, like I said, two big guys also on the defensive side, and C.J. Daniels was, again, because now he worked side by side with Lacey last year, didn't he?
He did.
So big production there. You know, we talked about the whole Lacey issue last week. So that stings for LSU. But on the other hand, they are the number 1 recruit class in the SEC and right now in college football. And for what reason is because they brought in, if I could get this slideshow to work, they brought in key pieces to where they lost.
There's my guy right there. Bauer Sharp had one outstanding season for the Oklahoma Sooners last year.
That was their only bright spot.
Yeah, it was. He had, which led the team, 42 catches, 324 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was it. But that was also their biggest contributor from this team. And I also want to say they did get another kid from Oklahoma, I think, Nick Anderson. Not really sure. Not seeing him here. But it's a great pickup for LSU. Bauer Sharp to Garrett Nussmeier could be 10-plus touchdowns this year.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to help out where they left off. So I looked at this. I mean, yeah, they pretty much cherry picked this guy from Florida State as far as it's a trash can fire right now.
Yeah. So, who he's talking about? He's talking about a defensive lineman, Patrick Payton, 35 tackles, 17 solos last year, 4 sacks. So not really big numbers, but it could be a turnaround inside this LSU nitty gritty defense.
So big pieces to fill, but they did. I think they really really got a lot of good players coming in, and that's why they're number one in the nation.
Yeah, and then this AJ Halsey kid, 74 tackles, 43 solos, 5 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. So another key, everybody talks about LSU being DBU. This is another kid that can make a great statement of that right here in the 25-26 season with the LSU Tigers.
Yeah. So I see them being better. I think this has got to be, A+ class here.
I'd say A+ because it definitely has the measurables and the potential for this class to be number one and to get an A+ grade from the Under Review podcast in this situation.
Oh, most definitely. And I'm kind of excited to see where it translates for them. All right. Now, kind of a shocker that they done so well in the transfer portal is the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They were last in the SEC last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. 34 going out, which it was like the Titanic. Once the season was over, they were like rats fleeing the ship. But in the turnarounds, there has to be something in the water. You still brought in 32 pretty decent players. You're a little lower than mid-pack in the SEC at 11, but I think there's still a little bit. Why is?
Can you button click right?
All right, so Todd, go. No, I can't button click right. So go over. I think right now is what I'm looking at. Probably besides the Carson Beck deal, I think Mississippi lost the most people as far as production-wise for where they were starting at last year.
Yeah, and the biggest name on that list right there is Michael Van Buren at quarterback, who I want to say he left and went to LSU. Not really sure, but
you think we'd have had that wrote down somewhere if he did.
Right. Like I said, this past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, has been absolutely crazy. But pulling up stats for Michael Van Buren last year, who took the starting, everybody knows it, took the starting job over Blake Shapen after he got hurt week 1 or 2. I don't remember. Blake Shapen, very great quarterback coming from Baylor. Cut his season short, but he was coming back this year. So he could be starter. This other guy we're talking about later could be a starter. Who knows? Because I don't. 140 completions for 1,886 yards, 11 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Michael Van Buren also he likes to run. He didn't really have a lot of rushing yards, but he likes to rush.
Yeah.
But the big piece here is an in-conference transfer, and Kevin Coleman Jr., wide receiver, 74 receptions for 932 yards and 6 touchdowns. Beat the next person in second by over 500 yards. So his biggest target by far.
Yeah, most definitely. That 1-2 punch right there is a big blow for Mississippi State. So I don't know as far. They do have this guy coming in from Florida State at quarterback. It'll be his sophomore year maybe, but looks really good. Some of the numbers I've seen on him.
And this Bryce Pollock kid, 24 solos, 24 assisted, 7 pass deflections, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. Out of that quarterback position, leaving. So it sucks for, again, 3 great pieces. Like if I had any class to give an A+ going out class to, it would be the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Didn't that mean that would be an F for them? Because
well, yeah, pretty much, but
but now we flip it to the other side. Whoops, I got a little too fast.
You done hit the wrong button.
And I did hit the wrong button. Yeah,
did you put it? Okay.
I did. Well, we're going to change the name of the show to...
Right.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Under technical difficulty review.
Technical difficulties. Luke Crumman Crotch. I don't know. 54 completions, 502 yards, 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Not a lot of bright spot because DJ Ugalagale, or whoever his name is, threw for 1,000 yards. Like you said, abysmal season from the Florida State team last year. So that being said, and he could, he could sit behind Blake Shapen and actually be a pretty good quarterback, in the years to come. But unless Shapen gets hurt again, but hopefully he don't, he might be sitting on the bench, just like our buddy over at LSU from the last Van Buren.
Right. But I think their biggest take-in from this is going to be Fluff Bothwell from South Alabama. I know he's one of your guys for sure. He was also one of Cody's picks. So what's the numbers on Fluff?
You got Fluff coming in from Oneonta, Alabama. He's a true freshman, so he'll be a sophomore starting from Mississippi State, or I guess starting. 111 carries, 832 yards, 13 touchdowns. As a freshman at South Alabama put up a great season last year to this team. So he's going to get the fence now. He's coming inside the SEC. Can he be that number one? Can he keep these yards up? Can he keep those carries up, honestly?
Right.
Small guy, 5'10", 219, average 7.5 yards per carry. Again, that's in South Alabama. So wanting to see that change over to the SEC. If he could come in and be pretty good, I mean, I got him on my list already as, my incoming freshman of the year or incoming transfer of the year. Big guy to watch, big target on his back, though. A little smaller guy for SEC play.
Yeah. Then our last guy we got for Mississippi State coming in is Zachariah Owens. He's an offensive lineman. There's not I guess there are stats for Owens, offensive lineman like pancakes and stuff like that, but he's a really big guy.
Not on my book. I can't find him.
Well, I know I found some, but of course I didn't write anything down. But no, he seems a good drop back passer when I watch some of the clips on him. His quick hands, quick feet. So I think it's really going to help Mississippi State with the line there, especially for Fluff. And if Luke Crotchmeyer or Coleman Crotch or
Coleman Crotch.
Coleman Crotch.
Biggest thing on Fluff, though, he played a full regular season, only had one fumble, and didn't even lose the fumble. So, great play by him. Just seemed, like I said, if I can transfer over to the ACC play, kid could be pretty deadly.
That's where it's going to change. The talent's going to be a step above where he's coming from.
Right. Well, again, that's all we had for you pretty much. But we did want to get into the best all-time logo tournament we have going on. And the first winner was...
first match in our first round.
Our first match was the number 1 overall seed, Texas Longhorns, versus the number 16 overall seed, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. We did this in order from the rankings at the end of the season. We all know Georgia, yada, 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 beat Texas. But Texas finished with a better record somehow, I guess because they went further in the playoffs. But the Under Review podcast fans have spoken, and the 16 seed with the biggest upset of the year is Bully the Bulldog from the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Kind of a shocker here. I mean,
it was 15-11, I want to say, so it was very close.
Yeah, I know me and Hayden talked about it the other day at work just for a little bit, and I told him I like the Bulldog, but he liked the old style Longhorn with the numbers on it. And I said, well, it's close right now, so.
Well, and this next one we have is our game 2, which will be up against the 2-seed Georgia Bulldogs versus the 15-seed Kentucky Wildcats. This one's going to be a good one, let me tell you. I see this team, whoever wins this, can make a deep run in this tournament.
Yep. That's the same as I told Hayden. That's the same exact thing I told him yesterday or the other
week. Both of these are great logos. I mean, I'm going to lean towards my one of my all-time favorite, second all-time favorite logo, I will say. Kentucky. That Wildcat is just, I don't know. I like it. I used to have tons of hats with it on there. I love it. Now, this Georgia, it is a good, I love it. It's one, I mean, the Bucks, it won. I mean.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite from last year, so.
So, I mean, it's going to be very fun to see what y'all, the fans, have to say on what y'all think is the better logo. Remember, the voting will be on the Facebook page. If you're not in a group, go find it. Just Under Review Podcast on Facebook. Look us up. It'll be there. Any chance you get to vote, It'll be live Thursday, I think. Thursday at 7.
Before we do that, I want to make some changes how we put it on there, because I talked with Brittany the other day about it, and she says it's really hard to read the small logo. So I think what we'll do first is do a post before that with the 2 big pictures, and then the next one can be the vote post, because it is kind of hard to see.
Did you click on it and it expand?
No, but once you click on it, you vote for it.
You can click just the picture. That's why I did it that way.
Well, then maybe. Anyway, I can't know.
Me neither. I can't know. But like I said, right at 30 minutes, short podcast, we ran through it because I was kind of mad about everything going on these past 2 weeks. If it wasn't one thing, it was the other one. I tell you, if it wasn't you, it was mine. If it wasn't mine, it was you. If it wasn't then, if it did go wrong, it went wrong, and stand firmly. I'm going to blame Hayden. Or not Hayden. Cody. I blame Cody.
Yeah, but Brandon's been getting his money's worth this week and last week. Exactly.
But I do want to say thank you to everybody that is going to listen and will listen and watch. We'll watch A-Town Down. Braves are playing right now and getting beat like usual. But follow us on Facebook. Listen to us on Spotify. Wherever you can find us, listen to us. Remember, in the grand scheme of things, because God loves you, and we love you here at the Under Review Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for making the call to go under review. Join us next time as we go to the monitors. Until then, keep your flag handy.